Landmines and jellyfish, welcome back to Knives, I guess, and you'd fly too if you got hit in the Peter with a pan. But last night we did a live stream and we went in on this Ozark Trail axis lock knife right here. And of course they don't give it a model name, so we named it the Dropout. You know, Bug Out, Kaiser Drop Bear. Eh? Yeah, you guys get it. But let's take a look at it real quick, and first things first, and most importantly, the pocket clip is tip up, which is the Lord's carry. We have got injection molded handles that I'm pretty sure are polypropylene. We got a thumb stud and an axis lock, but let's flick the stud. And 3.25 inches of D2 steel. And it's on bearings, so like you can see that right there. And, you know, we got the axis lock, which, of course, doing this under the camera flat is a pain in the ass. But, you know, it works. Like, the axis lock is buttery smooth. The only thing I can say about it is you got to let go of the lock just a little bit later than you do with other axis locks, which makes you got to practice with it a bit to get the timing right. But, dear God, it's buttery smooth. And, you know, I carried this for a week, and carrying it in the pocket, it did just fine. Carrying it on the waistband, it rubbed a little bit. It made itself known there, but it wasn't too bad. You know, it's a little bit girthy for what it is. You know, it's got a little bit more thickness going on than the Bug Out does. Not really thicker than the Kaiser Drop Bear. So, you know, it did great there. The factory edge, about a 7 out of 10. Like, this thing did a good job for everything I needed it to. No complaints there. Like, I cannot find a fault in this. But, you know, last night we went in and did our live stream. And because it's D2, we were expecting with a decent heat treatment, it was going to give us about 4 hours of performance. You know, all the D2 that we have done so far on a factory edge has crapped out at almost exactly 4 hours, unless we really abused it somewhere that we don't normally go. And, you know, so this thing went for 7 hours. All right, 7 hours of pushing through cardboard nonstop. And even then, I had to push it into territory we don't normally do to finally get the edge to wear out completely or completely enough at about that 7 hour mark. So, you know, normally when I'm doing this stuff, we'll go through your normal 32-pound crush test cardboard. You know, that's about the kind of cardboard that almost all of us are going to be breaking down if we got to break down cardboard. So we try to keep it at least a little bit realistic. Doing that 32-pound crush test stuff, this edge just would not wear out. It wouldn't. I had to get some crazy double-layered stuff that was thick, took a ton of pressure to force it through there. And even then, like, it took a lot of that before the edge wore out at about the 7 hour mark. You know, we did break our record for the longest live stream we've done at 8 hours and 22 minutes or something like that. Like, we beat it by a little bit. And, of course, you discount the breaks that I took to use the bathroom and let my hand rest and all that. It wound up about 7 hours or a little over of just nonstop cutting. And I am so confused by that. And we even have a little bit of a hollow grind into this flat, like it is definitely a hollow. And normally, the hollow grinds don't do so good at Cardboard Slayer, but this thing just sliced through like a laser. Like you can see, that's fairly thin blade stock, and it's worth noting, the blade is really well centered on this thing. Like, there's not much to complain about with the centering. You know, somebody got a lot of things right with this thing in one go. And, you know, it's just that 7 hours. It's incredibly confusing. We don't know exactly why it did that. You know, again, D2 with better factory edges just did not go that long. Stuff with worse factory edges hasn't gone that long. Like, somebody hit, like, just the magic Goldilocks area for this thing. I'm still so confused. Like, so confused. You know, I'm impressed by the performance, but I cannot begin to tell you why it performed like that. You know, so this is kind of like your full review here. Like I said, it carried well. Like, it's a great knife for daily use. It's a great daily driver. And, I don't want to do it. I don't want to buy a second one and see if I just got a fluke here. You know, I've got a feeling that, you know, the heat treatment on all these things is going to be the same, done in massive batches. You know how it goes. But, yeah, I'm astounded. And then we finished up the live stream, and at the end of the stream, we stropped it. All we did was strop it for about 5 minutes. And you can kind of see, like, just about 7 minutes on the strop, and we're back to that. You know, it's ridiculous. So, like, obviously the HRC isn't crazy high because I was able to strop it back to that with nothing but some diamond paste on a few strops. I didn't have to break out the work sharp or anything like that. If I had broken out the work sharp, this thing would be crazy. But I do not understand. Even with good edge geometry, that still should not have done what it did. Like, was this stuff quenched in the tears of Chuck Norris? Like, did Jesus himself come down and say, bless this one particular knife? I don't know. Like, they may have just found some D2 that, or, they may have just found some hard to find EM that they called D2 just to get away with it. And this is a $10 knife. Like, this thing is 10 American dollars at Walmart. Like, I know not all Walmarts have had these show up yet. The one next to my house did. The one next to work didn't. You got to find one with a fairly robust sporting goods section that actually has a bunch of knives. The ones that have next to no sporting goods in there or next to no stuff at the counter don't seem to have them. Now, I will say one thing worth noting is I've seen a couple of complaints about quality control on these things. So if you do get one, inspect it carefully when you pull it out of the box before you do too much with it so you can take it back and exchange it. I don't see that issue on mine. Everything on this is pretty much perfect. But it's worth noting, you got to share the good and the bad. That's the only bad thing is I've seen like 2 complaints about quality control on theirs. One of them said the lock on his was sticking. And KO Knives, his first impression video should be coming out at some point soon here, this thing. And he said his had a slightly warped blade. And so that's the only thing I've seen about it, but again, it's worth noting. And the other thing that surprised me, kinda, was the ergonomics. All right, this right here, you guys that have watched these Aftermath videos know that this right here takes the worst of the beat down from these things. And it became irritated, but it took about 4 hours for that irritation to really become anything worth mentioning. All right, that is 4 hours of holding it like this and pushing through cardboard nonstop, and even pushing through stuff with insanely high edge crush test ratings that other knives have just about not been able to cut through. This thing went through it with significantly less effort than most knives. Like, the only thing we've had that did better than this was very thin stock with full flat grinds on it. And this thing did it, and it did it without much complaining. And again, it ate a ton of that too. Like I said, we pushed this into territory that we don't normally go into because I was trying to wear the edge out and get it over and done with. Like once we got into like about 8 hours worth of live stream, I was too tired to keep going, but morbid curiosity got the better of me and the steel was not going to beat me. So yeah, I mean, the performance was just ridiculous on this thing. So, I think if you're at Walmart and you see one of these, you need to grab one, even if it's just to throw it in your car. But if you're going to EDC something and you're on an incredibly tight budget and you don't have much money to spend, this right here is the best thing you can get. Like, at the time, I don't think there's any better knife you can get brand new for $10. All right, this thing smashed out the performance of stuff we've had that's cost the better part of $50. Like, this has blown every other piece of D2 that we have had clean out of the water. Like I said, good edge geometry shouldn't have carried it that far. Maybe 4.5 hours, something like that, because it's still D2 at the end of the day. And what I had to do to finish wearing the edge out, like, that shouldn't have happened. If everybody else is getting the same kind of heat treatment and the same kind of performance out of this thing, like, it's going to do good for you for quite a while. Like, you'd have to really, really go crazy on this thing to wear it out, quickly. The Harbor Freight Gordon knife was the king of the $10 budget knives, and this thing has just dethroned it. It wasn't even a close fight. I can't say enough good things about what I'm seeing here. Like, even if it was a $35 or $40 knife, I would still be blown away by everything that this thing's got going for it. How smooth the action is, the axis lock, the bearings, and again, some of the stuff that works really well is kind of lifted from, similar knives. The Bug Out, the Vosteed Raccoon, the Kaiser Drop Bear, stuff like that. They took the stuff that works off of that and put it here without making it a direct clone. Very similar, and of course, as we know, very similar knives exist across the board. The Bug Out, the Drop Bear, the Raccoon, they're all really similar. They do their thing in slightly different ways. But I mean, again, this is not the exact same as one of those guys. It's not a clone. Very heavily inspired. So the stuff that works on those works on here. It's just Jesus H. Zombies, the blade steel, and the cutting performance on it. I can't explain it. You know, maybe one of you guys that knows more than I do can give me an idea what happened here. But yeah, like there is nothing about this that should have said 7 hours of nonstop cardboard processing. It shouldn't have. And if you don't believe me, the live stream is up on the channel. You can go skip through it and skip through to the end and see what happened here. And I'm also trying to get this done, and I put this much work into it because I don't see a lot of these on YouTube yet, and I'm hoping when people do start seeing it, they're going to get eyes on this video, and then, like someone putting that much work into it can give you an idea whether or not you want to buy one. But I mean, yeah, just if you're at Walmart and you see one of these, grab one. Like I'll probably grab another one or two to give away or do something with. But as I said, I am simply astounded. I cannot believe it did that. I can't. Yeah, so just to sum everything up, for $10, you cannot do better than this. It does not exist. Even at a higher price point, it would still be incredibly impressive. It carries well. It does your EDC tasks well. Like, it works incredibly well. Yes, it's a great carry, great daily driver. Yeah, you cannot go wrong with this thing. Like, if I was to give this an overall score, not even including the price, this would have been about an 8.5 to 9 out of 10. The only ding on it really is that the factory edge wasn't the best that I've gotten. Very good, solid working factory edge. It shaved hair just a little bit. It doesn't do that now. Very good factory edge, but it could have been sharper. And of course, if you've got strops and sharpening gear, that doesn't matter. You're going to put the edge you want on it anyways. But, it doesn't quite shave now, but it only got about 5-10 minutes on the strops. Like, it was not long at all because I wanted to get done and go to bed. It was, I think, around 1 in the morning when I got done. It was something like that. But still, the fact that it stropped back up to what you saw with the paper that quickly is ridiculous. Like, it's again, I don't know how it kept cutting cleanly for that long and then stropped back up that fast. There's a lot of confusion, but yeah, I cannot say enough good things about this thing. So, I've said enough. Now I'm just rambling. So all that being said, thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, you guys are awesome. Y'all are still coming in. I appreciate you so much. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the time you spend here and watching these things. Comments, I love some feedback. I know a bunch of y'all have gotten these after seeing me post the first video. So let everybody know what you think about yours and how it's treated you. And KO, of course, we did note that the one you got had a slightly warped blade. Don't know what happened there, but hopefully the next one you get does better. And yeah, all that being said, y'all have a nice day.